Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. This is episode 26, Amazing Spider-Man 871 and Sinister War number 2. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood host and webmaster of Spideydude.com and the host of this fine program. Before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Now, since we've last recorded, we've actually added a couple Patreon subscribers. Vinkman, Scott, our previous ones, but Greg and Jorgen also became Patreon subscribers. Check it out, our Patreon page at patreon.com/Spidey Network. It is also where you can hear the debut episode of our brand new show, Voices from the Eerie, a Gargoyles podcast. The second episode will be coming up on there first, soon, before everybody else. So if you want to see what all the fuss is about, go to patreon.com/Spidey Network. Like as I mentioned, this episode we're covering 2 issues, and I am your friendly neighborhood host. You're probably getting, I don't look great right now, and because I am in a basement in just outside of Omaha, Nebraska, broadcasting to you the internet live. Before we get started, as I always try to make this disclaimer for our audio listeners, we do live stream these shows, and as such, we are probably going to be prone to making references to the visual aids that are done on the live streams. Please excuse those, but you can always go over to YouTube, and we now have a great new URL. That's right, we finally got the URL. It's youtube.com/Spideydude Radio Network. Just go check us out there. Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe today. It really helps out the channel. And we just want to give, again, a big thanks to our Patreon people at patreon.com. If you want to be a part of the program and want to have your voice heard, you can always leave us a voicemail at 818-925-6631. That's 818-925-6631. We've got a couple of voicemails in the can, but those are for Make Mine Mayday, so we'll play those on that show. But if you want to talk about the Spencer departure or whatever, be sure to leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you think. You can also leave us an email at SpideyRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Of course, I don't do these shows in a vacuum. I don't do them by myself. First up, I got Paul. Hello, Paul. I can't hear you, Paul.
Because I muted myself like an idiot.
Oh,
Hi.
Okay.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, Paul is obviously, I want to mention, if you want to see more of Paul, you can go to the Comic Bitch YouTube channel. You can also follow him at Herman22 on Twitter. Comic Bitch channel is great if you want to catch up and get the required reading if you want to understand more about the MCU. And I'm going to hopefully do another episode regarding kind of in the same vein for DC when we do a Suicide Squad. We did a review. It was almost 2 hours long. I'm like, I'll save the comics for later because I do have some Suicide Squad comic books to talk about at some point. So, and I just dropped another episode of Indie Kicks, a great Kickstarter called The Atonement Bell. It just got released yesterday, and I had that first episode out, and ton of fun. The guy, Jim Owsley, his name is not Owsley, that's a different guy. Owsley. That's Christopher Priest.
Yeah, right. No, Jim Owsley is doing. He had a comic book called The Butcher Queen, and that's awesome too. You can get that anywhere. Go check it out. He's great. Check out the Atonement Bell. Support that. Lots of great videos, and yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, Zach, and I'm excited to talk about some Spidey.
Yeah. So again, we're talking about some Spidey tonight. We got some great other co-hosts like the recapper himself, Neil Bogenreiter.
Hi.
As he's I thought I said the Reaper.
Yeah, no, it's the recap.
Because my eyes are so bad. I'm like, there's a Reaper?
More like the Grim Recapper, am I right?
Ooh, yeah. I like this nickname you've got for yourself, the Grim Recapper. I like this.
So finally, and Adam may be joining us later, but I'm not entirely sure. But we do have Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Broadcasting from the Northeast.
Hi.
So Brian is our front page reviewer. You can't. Okay, so for those that are watching us on YouTube, you can't see him. He doesn't have video, but we wanted to have his dulcet tones on this particular episode.
Dulcet means nasal, right?
Wait a minute, hang on. We have front page reviews?
We did like a couple months ago.
Wow.
We'll get back on track. We're going to get back on track. We've been things have been kind of crazy. I am going to give kind of a life update here in a minute, but I want to kind of go through the comments as we get started. It's SoFlo Entertainment says, hello, Zach. I'll hope all is well. Matt Unger is glad to see us back. Vinkman does his trademark hello, and welcome back. And he also he brings up something that I was going to bring up here in a little bit. We just hit 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Yay.
And I'll talk about the big move here in a second. So good evening, Zach, and whoever's joining with you on the show. And Vinkman says, fear of the recapper. All right, so we'll start off.
To wave the flag. Ooh, the red, white, blue.
So,
dude, hold on really quick. You totally missed a great thing with Blue Oyster Cult. Don't fear the recapper, just take my hand.
we're going to get demonetized for that one.
This is High School Musical now.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, boy. Zach had a internal vomiting moment.
So, okay. Obviously, I do want to give a life update because for those that wondering why we've been off the air for a couple of weeks now, and we're going to kind of go to a twice a week format during Sinister War and probably continue to do that because trying to do this show weekly is not always easy. We'll try to do as much weekly stuff as we can, but and we'll kind of reevaluate when we get to October, but so my wife got a job down in the Houston area, and that is where my daughter lives. And so I was up in the Texas Panhandle. So it's about 600 miles between my old house and where my daughter lives. And so my wife was a little upset whenever she my wife was upset because we were about to drop my daughter off, and she was like, you know what? I want to do something. We got to do something different. We've had her for a month, and we can't handle it. And I was having a hard time. Gabby was having a hard time. And so she applied for a job down there, and lo and behold, the day we ended up returning back to Houston, she got a phone call the day before and did a phone interview. And after she did a phone interview, called her the next day as we were driving down and did an in-person interview. And by the end of the day, she had a job. So we've been trying to figure out how we were going to make everything work. And we still haven't got everything quite figured out yet, but we do have a house. And so there will be a new office sooner rather than later. And that'll be a really exciting moment. So we'll have a new Spidey room that I will be broadcasting from. But for now, I am up in the greater Omaha, Nebraska area. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, so that's my life update. That's why we haven't had some episodes. But we'll be back. We'll be doing a twice a week format moving forward for at least the foreseeable future. Make My Mayday will be back to being weekly, barring anything unforeseen. So, we're gonna the next couple of weeks definitely. We will be broadcasting. May have another a week break here and there. But Make My Mayday will be on tomorrow night. So. Come back to the channel if you're not a part of it. And P-Thug got the exact reference that Vinkman was making. So, So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about... I do want to... Did I mention the Galactus thing?
I don't care.
You don't care. I do. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to finance this thing. Because this thing, okay, so for those that don't know, if you go to HasbroPulse.com right now, which I will, let me share my screen. Select my new screen 2. Nope, I want screen 1. Give me that one. All right. So, this is a massive action figure. It's got 19 days left as of this recording. They're trying to get to 14,000 backers. Right now, they've got 11,405. It's going to cost $399 if they if they make the minimum backing goal. Now they have announced. So you don't just get this. You get some Marvel Insider stuff. You get the original appearance of Galactus on at your leisure. This thing is massive. I mean, massive. This also there's a Frankie Ray Nova Legend 6-inch figure will be unlocked at 16,000. Looks like it may end up also getting another Silver Surfer, which we don't know what that means. That one hasn't been revealed yet, but the silhouette's there. Some great photos. I do want to mention how tall this thing is because it is massive. It is 30. It's 32 inches tall, which is actually taller than the HasLab last year's HasLab Sentinel, and it will not ship until August of next year because they got to put it in production. And so it's not 14,000. It's 14,000 units, not 14,000 backers. It's a little misleading, but that is the HasLab. And then they also announced, and I'm going to probably go on a rant because for those that have followed me over the years, and eventually we're going to have all these episodes up on the channel, aka Clone Saga Chronicles. But you guys know that I'm not a fan of the High Evolutionary because
man, don't read X-Men then right now because High Evolutionary is a villain right now.
Well, I mean, like, so High Evolutionary, I am so torn because I want this figure, but I hate that it exists. And here's why I hate it that it exists. I wish there was more I wish there were other figures that were coming out. As a Spidey fan, High Evolutionary, most of the High Evolutionary stories involving Spider-Man have never been good. If you read the new Warriors by Yost, it was not good. If you read Scarlet Spider Unlimited #1, not good.
I would disagree about Yost's New Warriors, by the way. I liked it.
If you watch Spider-Man Limited, it's not very good.
Spider. Oh God,
I like Spider-Man Unlimited. I like Spider-Man Unlimited.
Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
What?
No, like I'll fight all you guys.
Okay, so when we do in this fall, when we do decide to do the commentary series, me and Paul are going to have to sit down and do and kind of debate Unlimited because I've tried to like it. I've tried to find redeeming qualities. I think the animation's great, but other than that, it just doesn't do anything. So anyway, Marvel Legends series Retro High Evolutionary coming in on the classic. For those that remember from the 90s, the Fantastic Four card backs from the 1990s cartoon.
That's amazing.
Huh?
They are bringing those back. Now they did this. Okay, so for the record, they did do this for Doctor Doom when they did the re-release of Doctor Doom because Doom was such a popular character. Because early last year they finally did a newer Doctor Doom, looked fantastic, and then people were like, "Well, I kind of want more of a classic Doctor Doom." So then they did this retro card. So these look gorgeous. They also are doing the burn costumes, so the white and blue costumes, not the
only costumes in my opinion.
Oh, it's funny because a buddy of mine was like, he hates these costumes, but for me, like,
wrong.
This is the burn era. You know, costumes were what I grew up with. Also, they also have a retro Invisible Woman where she's completely translucent. The new 4. So Reed comes with a lab coat. They've done a newer Johnny Storm.
Johnny comes on fire.
Johnny Storm's on top. Yeah, you can get Johnny Storm not on fire or on fire. The choice is yours.
No, he's on fire. He's on fire in the first one, but he's less on fire.
Yeah, there's flame effects with Johnny, but Sue Storm's face though is highly controversial right now. She looks derpy, man. Also a brand new thing, which I really like the new thing. I wish he came with a trench coat.
That's the what if Iron Man, the what if Cap Iron Man thing. That looks really good. If a little plasticky.
Yeah, a little plasticky, but and then they also just released Tigra. So for those that are trying to do their West Coast Avengers, they did announce the Marvel Legends series Zombie Hunter, which is like Peter Parker meets Doctor Strange meets vampire. Like he's hunting. I don't know.
He's Blade.
He's like Blade meets Doctor Strange meets Spider-Man. So that figure was released. So they announced a few figures since last time we talked, but they also announced the 3-pack, which for those that decided to get the cannonball that only had the blast effects, they finally went and gave him legs. So congratulations.
It's like whenever we're on our show. Hey, hang on, Zach, you getting bad feedback?
I'm not getting bad feedback, but I can mute if I need to.
Yeah, that might be a good idea because I'm hearing myself in your speakers.
I was also a little too close. Let me lower that down a little bit. All right, so yeah, that's the new latest Marvel Legends that came out. All right. Reed should have come with the pocket vest from the DeFalco Ryan FF run instead of a lap cup. Sue's new face is total fail on Hasbro's part. Yeah, Paul, by the way, you sound really like you were in a hole. Vinkman made a comment, so I don't know what it is. So anyway, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, by the way. Okay, so we're covering 71 first, correct?
Yes, we are.
All right. So issue 71 of Amazing Spider-Man. We have what now? 3 issues left?
Counting Sinister War.
Not counting Sinister War.
Zach, can you mute real quick? I want to see if it's your mic on my end.
Can you see his microphone now?
Help for me fix.
Oh, I think it's Paul.
I don't think it's me.
Okay, I'm not the only one hearing the feedback, am I?
Yeah,
I hear myself
right now
in the background.
I think it's Zach.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing any feedback. Are y'all hearing any feedback on me?
Yeah.
Well, it's not feedback. I hear an echo. I'm hearing myself after I talk.
Okay, let me do that, and maybe. How's that?
Hang on. It got worse.
You got worse.
Oh yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, it got worse. Worse. Oh.
Hang on. Oh, there we go. Much better.
Oh no, that's much better. No, I can't see.
Studio.
You flipping football.
Oh, bye, Zach. Okay. I guess it's my show now. Welcome to one more thing with Neil and Paul.
One more. I actually really like one more thing. It's so genius. It's pretty genius. Well done, my friend.
What is it?
It's my podcast, One More Thing, where we talk about one more thing every time we want to change the subject. One more thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, Paul, did you read the new X-Men book? It's really good. Actually.
No, but I heard Hickman's going to Substack, so you can say goodbye to that whole shenanigans.
I honestly. Oh, hang on, it's back again.
Oh.
I don't think the Krakoa status quo is going away. Oh, nope, it's still there.
Oh boy. Hello. Yeah, that's gonna. I don't know. I think X-Men is a mess right now, in my opinion. They've jumped the shark.
There's some really good books out there right now. I'm actually really liking this. I'm actually really liking this run, and that's coming from someone who, in retrospect, isn't really a huge fan of like the Hickman run being just world building. And then Sword's really good as like a cosmic mutant book.
Yeah, I've seen you praising that right now. The whole thing.
They got Stefano Caselli as the interiors artist. But There are a few books I want to go away. I don't like Excalibur, and I think Marauders is kind of worn out its welcome.
Yeah, the whole series is just way too. I just got way too big.
I think if they downsize it a little be a lot more manageable. But I think like having a couple books, like maybe 6 at most, would be a good size. But they need to chill out. Like Wolverine can go. They just ended Children of the Atom today, so that's good. Because that was a nothing burger of a book.
But the problem is that, with Hickman being the architect and he started this whole thing, he's not really going to finish it. So it's
How
just
about
kinda...
now?
Okay, let's.
Hello.
Okay, we're good now.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, it's good.
But I think what they wanted to do is like they wanted to extend it past. Like I assume there was like a 3-act structure in place. Oh, it's back again. Okay, but there was a 3-act structure, and I guess they kind of wanted to extend past that 3-act structure, just like lay out like a 3 or 4 year roadmap, and they've just kind of extended past it, and just kind of not necessarily abandoned what they set in motion, but like taken the most essential parts and made it into its own thing. But we're not here to discuss
No
books. We're here to talk about Spider-Man.
Good Lord, I don't want to talk about Hickman books.
Okay.
Ah!
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to mute because my roommates are watching TV upstairs.
You want me to do the recap?
Please.
I mean that was kind of the plan anyways, but this is just kind of solidifying our decisions.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so ASM 71, Sinister War Part 1. Okay, so I guess it's also called Sinister War Part 1. Written by Nick Spencer with art by what we'll call Good Federico and Bad Federico. Federico Vincentini is back as Good Federico, while Federico Sabintini from ASM 65 is Bad Federico. Colors by Alex Sinclair. The book starts with, I guess, Peter's fighting the regular Sinister Six again, somehow. Peter is doing his best to keep up, but all six of them fighting against him. Odds are hopeless. Peter gets blown out of the mausoleum and next to a gravestone. Oh, what was that?
No, I'm just. Is it better now?
Hang on. Let's do a couple tests. Test.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
All right. Sorry, everybody.
So we'll edit that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope to edit that out. Yes. All right.
It's staying in then. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not other people. I will actually. I'm making a note right now in my notes app. So continue with your recap.
So, anyways, MJ and Mysterio, having absconded from the fight in Sinister War #1, teleport to Quentin's old movie set, or his old props closet, where everything began. When Mysterio used to think of this as sort of a simple bout of heroes and villains. And then he kind of talks about how he killed himself. He went to hell, and he kind of just lingered down there for a bit, and he got approached by Harry Osborn in hell as he was being Prometheus against a rock. And so Kindred brings him back, and going through all of the major events that have happened with Mysterio since he killed himself or brought himself back in front of the neighborhood, which is just Spider-Man and the first issue of Spencer's run. That's all they cared to recap. But Quentin thought Kindred was just gone. He kind of held up his end of the bargain. He kind of opened the door. He's the one who actually opened the door to the Ultimate Universe for him in Spider-Man, which I thought was a really neat kind of retcon of, or is it really retconning when you just kind of add things in there? I don't know.
Yes and no.
But anyway,
I'd say no. I'm a no person on that, Neil, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
there's actually also like everything was subtext with Friendly Neighborhood, by the way, with Peter David's run about Mysterio being a agent of Mephisto, or from hell.
This was just the official kind of confirmation of that.
This basically completely ties that into actual that is the correct continuity.
Yeah. So, anyways, like I said, Quentin kind of thought Kindred was going to leave him alone after this. But when he got captured in ASM #1 and was put on trial, that was him realizing, oh God, I'm not out of this yet. And so later on, Norman wakes up and he gets a letter to visit Drake Kennard, attorney at law. While he's there, Harvey Birdman gives him Mendel Strom's will, and along with a gift of a key, and he says that he knows what it would mean. And so Norman does know what it means and flies off to one of his European estates. Hopefully there is not a Gwen there. I couldn't know.
No, the Gwen that was there is Sarah.
There we go. Okay.
Sarah Stacy.
It's probably the. I know some people are saying like it's Mayday who's there, and I'm like that's not what it. That's not it. You're wrong. So, anyways, MJ and Quentin go further into the prop closet and find a remarkably accurate therapist's room, and it's revealed that Gwen went to therapy or did I say Gwen? MJ went to therapy after Gwen died, and it helped. And so later, when Harry died, she went back to therapy, and so he asks, "Does the name sound familiar?" It was Ludwig Reinhardt. So it was revealed, I guess it's revealed that Mysterio's been a therapist all along. So all of a sudden, art change. Let's go. Bad Federico's up to bat. I upset the dog.
Why did you do that?
That was thematically appropriate. That was a sound effect for Bad Federico.
Bad Federico drunkenly stumbles his way onto the set as Carly and Harry are still in their super jail, wondering what they're gonna do. And Harry kind of reflects on how he's kind of done nothing to his family but fail them, talking about how he died in Spec 200, and even though how much he tries to make things right, the Green Goblin or himself is still lurking in the shadows, making it worse. So anyways, Carly gives him an inspirational speech. They're like, "We have to get out of here." And he's like, "Carly, the door is open. You could have just left whenever you want." And so they just leave. Meanwhile, in the ambulance from Spec 200, it's just sitting in a field. It's all rusted and stuff. It's sort of like the Thanos copter in Loki. In the Thanos copter ambulance, Kindred is mourning and reflecting on how Peter let him die a hero, and how he doesn't feel that anymore. He doesn't feel anything at all. Anyways, scene change again. Did we ever leave Bad Federico? No, we did not leave Bad Federico. Bad Federico is still here, and I kind of hate it. MJ's wondering why she can't remember Ludwig Reinhardt, and he says, "I know," and Quentin says that memories are tricky things and that he knows his own past with certainty, even though sometimes they lead you astray. And he apologizes and says he already knows how the story ends. And his big scene is approaching. And so MJ just stares out into the abyss, wondering where Quentin went, but Quentin's gone. And as Kindred appears to MJ, he says, "It's just us now." To be continued.
All right, so let's start. You got SoFlo. He gave it an A. Let's start with Paul. What's your grade?
Buckaroo.
So I'm gonna go with again, I read it a while ago and I didn't have time to reread it, but I'm gonna go with a solid, I think, B+. The art is a little jarring. I don't mind the art. It's fine, but it definitely makes it kind of just when you're getting into the story, which we're getting a lot of obviously exposition and kind of backstory of where tying everything together. And I do love the fact again that Spencer's trying to bring in as much as he can to have it all make sense, right? I love the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man talk with having the whole Mephisto going to hell and tying that into the whole Daredevil situation. And that was great. So I love the fact that the Mysterio's it's almost like he's trying to make Mysterio a little more sympathetic and a little more, I don't know. I like where he's going with it. It's very interesting. I didn't even think about the idea that he was, again, the counselor for MJ after Harry died. I do think it's interesting that they brought up the idea of, and I don't know if this was already an established thing, but of MJ going to the counseling after Harry died that one time, or if he did die, whatever. And how, like, again, I like the fact that Spencer's kind of bringing this up, this idea of finding support and outside of your own like friend circles and when you need it. And I think that's really cool that he's kind of showing that, as an example, like someone as powerful and strong as MJ is emotionally. I mean, let's be real. I mean, she's one of the, I think, in my opinion, one of the strongest characters emotionally in the MCU, because look who she's married to. She's, her husband or partner risks his life all the time, and she has to deal with it. I'm through my reread right now where MJ reveals that she knew Spider-Man was Peter Parker for a long, long time. And she said, like, the reason why I can never be with you is because I didn't want you I couldn't think about risking your life all the time, how much that meant to me and how much that was hard on me. So I do love the fact that MJ knows her limitations. And I think that there's a sense of power in that, and knowing how much you can handle, how much you can't. And I don't know. She's such a great character. I love Mary Jane. But this was a great issue because, again, you're getting that exposition, but you're getting a lot of things filled in the gaps. And now, again, we already knew this was confirmed, but we're getting more confirmation of what exactly is going on, how much hell is involved, or hell, or wherever that afterlife is, how much Mysterio was. It definitely is. He's being affected and everything, and how the very end with Kindred and MJ. To me, it'd be a disappointment if Kindred isn't somehow tied to One More Day. It would be a complete upset. The way everything is handled right now, it would be a giant upset if it wasn't. I'll be bummed out if it's not, because it seems like Spencer's done such a beautiful job of building up to this and retconning this and bringing that back to marriage, that I think that it just seems right, and it just seems like the right thing to do. And with Spencer riding off in the sunset to Substack, I just think that this would be perfect. So, yeah, to me, that's where it seems like we're going, and I'm super stoked, especially after episode or issue 1 of Sinister War, obviously. So with that, and when you read Sinister War 1 and you read this issue, it feels like that's where it's leading up to. The fact that, who is this entity that is obsessed with Peter Parker and everything. So yeah, it's great. It's, art's a little jarring, but the story's still good. I know it's heavy on exposition, but I loved it.
To counteract your point, Paul, you said that, like, if they don't tie it to Mephisto somehow, it's going to not be worth it. I think Spencer's kind of past that point of no return. Like, he's pretty much all but confirmed that Mephisto has something to do with this because of Sinister War. That's it. That was my point.
I don't disagree. Neil, what's your grade?
I put it in the chat. I gave it an A-. I
know. I know that, but I'm trying to lead the conversation. I'm trying to be the host, even though you're doing the recaps.
But I think the book's strongest point is kind of how Kindred, MJ, and Peter just kind of subplots are all tied together. Peter actually has, like, I think the least amount of screen time of any of the main characters of we'll call them the big three. It's actually kind of weird seeing, like, Peter just kind of job to the Sinister Six, and then he's just gone for the rest of the book, because he'll be over in Sinister War. But very strong character stuff with both MJ and Kindred. I even say Mysterio gets a bit of time to shine, but I kind of tie him as like a sub character to Kindred. I don't really care about the Carly Harry stuff, even though it's pretty plot relevant, and then maybe because of the art. I've made a joke about good Federico and bad Federico, and the tonal whiplash that comes up between those two pieces, between those two artists, is so severe. Because on one hand, you've got Federico Vicentini kicking ass with, like, his high dynamic kinetic action sequences and his way of movement, and then you've got Federico Sabatini, who looks like he got a horrible Spice Girls cartoon and then put Spider-Man characters in there. So it just feels like Sabatini's really drags the grade down, but like the character work in Vicentini's work is absolutely fantastic. Not really a whole lot to say because I don't think it really moves the plot along a whole lot. It's mostly just kind of filling in the gaps and confirming what we already know or what we already guessed because we didn't know it, but we kind of guessed it well ahead of time. I'm not a fan of Alex Sinclair's coloring. Yes, I know it's a meme for me to clown on colorists, but I think that Alex Sinclair is not a good colorist for Vicentini's artwork. It just doesn't fit for me tonally. Also, just comes across as really artificial. Like he kind of just slaps gradients everywhere and calls it a day. So yeah, I know my grade's a bit higher than I really think it should be, but I think that the pros severely outweigh the cons, even though there's more cons I think listed. So I'm sticking with my guns and giving it an A-. That's it.
All right. So, Brian, what's your grade? Brian,
okay.
You there?
That was a great analysis, by the way. Brian, you really knocked it out of the park.
Oh, was I muted that whole time?
You were muted the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I told a really clever joke.
Oh,
let me go back into that. My thing that I said was I agree with Neil that our audio listeners should read our private chat. And we shouldn't have to say the grade out loud. I said B-. I think I might be on a different curve than you guys because I thought it was fine, which is like a B-. It's a very busy book, and I think it would have been better, especially because there's a second book going on at the same time, if it focused a little bit more narrowly. It seems like the book is almost entirely about Mysterio and MJ. And it's like leading to, at some point, Mysterio is going to have to make some big sacrifice, right? In other words, why would they build him up as a sympathetic character? Which is fine. I do have a dumb question, though, as I was listening to you guys. Why would Mysterio dress up as a therapist and give therapy to MJ after Gwen died?
That's a great question.
I mean, it's like Norman could have told him, right? I guess.
It's one of those things where I'm okay with it being a thing, but no, you're right. The psychiatrist thing, I think that goes back to like the Lee Ditko run, and I wish we had Adam here right now because he would be able to like immediately.
It's an issue like 19. It's if I remember correctly. So it is a deep cut, and it is the fact that where it also think about the third Green Goblin, right? There was
Bart Hamilton.
Yeah, Bart.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel it's kind of all those things. But Brian, you bring up a great point that why would he be interested in MJ's like counseling?
That is an interesting point. I maybe it's a red herring. I don't know. Excuse me. But yeah, no. I continue, Brian. I'll let you finish your thoughts.
And then I want to disagree. I forget which one of you said it. That it's like nice that she has therapy. In almost every Marvel comic book where there's a therapist, it boomerangs on the character. The arc is always bad because when the characters show vulnerability, then the writer pounces and tries to up the stakes. There's like nobody who goes to therapy and doesn't wind up like a brainwashed villain there with their files in the hands of the government or something. And this was just another example of that. So I didn't like that much.
I mean, I see your point, but at the same time, there's other times, to me, it feels like other times it works. Like for instance, when in the superhero kind of thing where everyone has that distinct hidden identity, and they talk about the person they're worried about or whatever, that Carly Cooper introduces MJ to.
Oh, lookups, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, lookups. Yeah, I love that. It's stuff like that. I think
But don't you think that that's going to turn out to be like a secret Hydra cell? I'm convinced.
I think this late in, I think it's being played completely straight. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
okay.
and Brian, here's the other thing. You're absolutely right, but here's the thing: we're in comics. You have to have drama. So I mean, so it's kind of a two-way thing. Like you're right. So you shouldn't always have consequences for being vulnerable. I totally get it. But at the same time, we're also in it's drama. I mean, you gotta wait. You gotta balance it a little bit better. I agree, but you gotta, it's what it is. I guess
But it's not true that every time they eat a hot dog they get food poisoning. I mean, they just you could.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that because like Paul said, it's the Marvel universe, the universe where Norman Osborn comes back from the dead and kills Peter and MJ's child and then ships the body across international waters. So I think doing anything has kind of those kind of consequences when you're at comic book.
Right, didn't they reveal that the international waters was just an actress though?
The international waters was not an actress, but it was a cat.
Okay,
that's what they revealed. That Allison Monogran was taking care of a cat.
Wow.
But I do appreciate
Bob Harris.
But I guess to be a bit more serious, I do appreciate characters getting help. Like one of the things that I think has. Paul and I have talked about Silk before, but one of the things I consistently enjoy about the Silk character and a consistent theme across her series is the kind of you don't really ever get over your trauma and you have to consistently seek help for it and not just try and push it away. And her consistently going to therapy in her book, I think is emblematic of good mental health practices that I think in a world where New York gets literally blown over 20 different times a year and they somehow rebuild it back to the exact way it was. I think
damage control.
Yeah, but at one point you just got to say, okay, let's pack it up and ship to Mars. Let's go, folks. We got spacecraft.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
But I think that encouraging good mental health practices through characters like MJ and Silk are beneficial, even if you go through the idea of like, well, they're doing it, but they also Mysterio's stealing her therapeutic information and doing it to screw her over in the long run. I feel like that's just kind of something they had to do to like tie in the Ludwig Reinhardt personality in there somehow.
Yeah, and again, it's the only thing I think that it needs to be explained is why is Mysterio interested in MJ? Unless there's more to Mysterio than we even realize, that he's more even tied. Which, to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked, because think about this: in this whole book, obviously Mysterio has he has ties to everybody, and again, the way that they're playing him off of is that he is connected almost to everybody. The way he's connected to MJ, it's just weird. So, and maybe I don't know. I think there's got to be some explanation. Hopefully, Spencer does that before he heads out. I know it's kind of a weird plot hole.
It's one of those things. I think by the time we get to the end of Sinister War and we get to his finale, his grand finale in issue 74, because we know that's going to be a big giant issue. We know that's going to be a thick boy. We know that's going to be one of those that's going to be a big giant sized finale.
Damn boy, he's thick.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be yeah. So I haven't given my grade yet. Let me give mine right quick. And I give it a B+. So I'm going to blow myself up for a minute.
It's weird having the highest grade.
I had a B+.
I had an A-.
You did.
So for me, the artwork drug it down a bit. I enjoyed the story. I think the story was very well crafted and executed. However, I think that the story also it felt like ASM was a bit of the B title, and I'm not hating that. It's just I'm glad we're getting. To me, this is far better executed than what we've seen in the past, and I bring up Clone Conspiracy because that was a very prominent example where the main story was Clone Conspiracy, and ASM was like these extended, here's a scene in Clone Conspiracy. Here, see the whole entire scene. We're going to use one scene to take up an entire issue. Which was not good, by the way. But I enjoyed it. I don't love the cover. Sorry, Brian Hitch's covers don't do anything for me. The Bagley covers, I feel like, are better in Sinister War.
I think they're more thematically relevant. Like with Brian Hitch, you just got like generic action scenes.
Yes. So I like the cover. I mean, obviously, I wished it was Bagley drawing. The good Federico, I really enjoyed. The bad Federico, I was like, okay, it's kind of bland. But like I say, overall, give it a B plus. Give us your grades in the comments. ASM 21st or 24 was the first appearance of Mysterio as Ludwig Reinhardt. So thank you to Vikman for clarifying that in our comments.
Do we want to take a second to pull up some other comments? Just
Yeah, we can do that right quick. All right. What do you think?
Oh, sorry.
So all right, let me go. Vinkman says he's looking forward to my new Spidey office. Hopefully, my legends will be more visible in the background. That is a plan there, Vinkman. Hey, recapper, what are you baking your spider meal for tonight?
I actually wanted some chocolate cake tonight. I decided not to just because chocolate cake is really bad health wise. So I just chose for a bag of chips and a Gatorade.
There you go. Parker Matt Bird says, I hope that they will not be making a toy figure of Sue Storm from that time when she had the boob window from Marvel Legends.
They really wanted her to be Power Girl back then.
Oh boy. And now like people actually buy shirts now that have boob windows, and I just don't understand it. Venkman didn't have any problems with the echo on his end. And Soflo gave it an A. So, also puppos, always fun to have the puppos.
Don't worry. I won't do any loud banging noise that'll rile them up this time.
All right.
I don't have any like dramatic need for it.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, so here we go. I think we're getting to the second issue of the night. Sinister War number 2. Recap this fun. Epic. Okay,
so because no one can finish a book on their own nowadays, we now have 2 writers and 3 artists and we have 4 artists.
There's 4 artists.
5 inkers.
But
one colorist, so we're good on that front. So Nick Spencer and Ed Brizzen are the writers. Mark Bagley, Diogenes Neves, Carlos Gomez, and Zay Carlos are our pencilers. And Andrew Hennessy, John Dell, Andy... Oh, God, it's John Dell. God, shoot me. Andy Owens, Carlos Gomez, and Zay Carlos are
Your
inkers.
hatred for John... One of these days, I'm just going to bring John Dell in and be like, why do you... I'm just going to have the 2 of you sit in the room.
I will throw a battering at him.
All right.
And Brian Reber is the colorist. Shock of all shocks, I actually think Brian Reber does a really good job this issue, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. So Otto has spontaneously gained weight since Sinister War number 1. And after that, Peter gets thrown into a gravestone and talked about how being an optimist isn't turning out so well for him. And he gets assaulted by the Casino Royale Brigade.
They're actually called the Wild Pack.
I don't care. The Casino Royale Brigade sounds way cooler.
Okay, all right. Casino Royale Brigade. But anyway, I just want to let everybody know they're called the Wild Pack.
Is that actually what they're called? Or
yeah, it's according to the recap page, yes.
Well, oh, really? Well, that's too bad.
Wild Pack, for those that don't know, Wild Pack was the mercenary team that Silver Sable used in the 90s. So
still is, isn't it?
Technically, I think so, and I think because of the foreigner's influence, that's why he's able to use the name.
He stole the copyright when he broke up with Sable.
There you go. All right.
So anyways, he's accosted by the Casino Royale Brigade, which consists of Foreigner, Chance, Jack-o'-lantern, Taskmaster, Black Ant, and Slide. And the idea is Spider-Man doesn't leave this graveyard alive. And Peter says, look, no one's dying here today, certainly not at the hands of Slide, which was a great joke on Spencer's part. And Peter's trying his best, but he's getting beaten up from all sides. And as Foreigner's putting the gun to his head, for no reason, we cut away to a flashback by Carlos Gomez, where the Casino Royale Brigade is raiding an armored truck. When suddenly a giant black void spawns centipedes out of it and drags them into the abyss. This is going to be a recurring theme because as we show every important team in this book, we're going to get a recap page by Carlos Gomez showing how they got into the graveyard for the confrontation. I think don't they also show one for the Savage Six as well? Okay.
Yes.
That's great. So Peter's about to get a bullet in the head. He's going to get CIA'd when Overdrive zooms in on his motorcycle and saves him. The superior foes give Overdrive cover as they run away, and Hydro Man tries to drown the Casino Royale Brigade. For some reason, Shocker now has electricity gauntlets, and he shocks the water to defeat them. Another flashback, and Hydro Man's reminiscing about how the foes are back, baby, even though he was never part of the team to begin with, something that Speed Demon points out. And Boomerang's thinking about, this is maybe a little low brow for us, rescuing Carly Cooper. Pretty sure she was friends with Gwen Stacy back in the day, but that's not important. And even though but Overdrive says, I'm going to pay you, just help me find Carly. And he says, fine, but where is she? And then they disappear. They get sent to the Shadow Realm. Back in the present, the foes in the Casino Royale Brigade are fighting each other as Overdrive makes his getaway, and they eventually get tripped over by, I don't even know what that is. I guess that's just the quick drying cement. I don't know. But surprise, surprise, it's the Sinister Syndicate. Or is it just the Syndicate? I don't know.
The Syndicate, yeah.
And eventually they team up. Electro beats up. I know I used to do She-Electro, but I'm just going to call her Electro for expediency's sake. Electro knocks out Overdrive with a lightning blast and says, this is what you get for signing on with Boomerang. And so the Syndicate's making a run for her. Something I actually really like is that Peter's spider sense goes off, but he can't ignore it, and it's actually kind of relevant for the next page. Basically, he's being attacked on all sides, and he's, again, getting surrounded. And Taskmaster says, stick around for a minute and meet our newest member. And Peter is shanked in the back by Anna Kravinoff.
Oh, yay. Anna's back.
In fairness, it makes sense because we'll talk about it later. But thematically, it makes sense considering her place in this arc. Or not in this arc, but in Spencer's run. But back at the progressive workspace for female supervillains, Anna is getting drafted into the Syndicate by Beetle, and they're basically infighting with each other more than ever about their motives and what's going on, when they also get dragged into the Shadow Realm by centipedes as well. So then drastic art change. One drastic art change later.
Sorry, he's reacting to a live comment saying 5 inkers, 4 artists, 2 writers, and a partridge in a pear tree. But SoFlo gave it an A. So,
but after an aggressive art team change, everyone wakes up in, I guess, the same jail cell as it's the mausoleum, and they all begin fighting each other because no one knows who to blame first. So Kindred comes in, breaks up the fight, and Taskmaster's like, it's Daddy McDetterson, dead of the Massachusetts McDettersons. Time to die. And then Kindred, I guess, essentially snaps his fingers, and all the villains start reeling over in pain because I guess he stuck centipedes in their ears or something. It's sort of like what's that one thing where they get like worms in their ears and then they all die? I don't remember. I guess it's like the brain worms from Star Wars. You know what I'm talking about, right? Paul, I can't hear you. You muted yourself.
You mean Star Trek?
Yes, the bluegills, the ones from the conspiracy episode. Thank you.
When they all get earwormitis.
Yeah. But Kindred's like, okay, so here's the deal. I'm gonna bring Spider-Man here. You're all gonna kill him for me. Sound good? Okay, bye guys. And so meanwhile, I guess the Sinister Six and the Savage Six also join the fight as the issue ends. So okay, that's it. To be continued in
So I would be using my soundboard if we weren't having all the audio issues earlier, but I would have been dun 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 and then
dun, 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 dun. Why did I do the Dr. Evil theme? That
I don't know. All right, so start off with Brian. Brian, your grade.
I didn't write it in the secret chat. I could say like D plus. Is that a grade?
D plus? Wow.
This book made me very angry in a way that I haven't been aggravated by comic books in a while.
See, this is why I liked having Brian on here, because he gives a very differing opinion.
It's a lot of action, but it all seems like pointless action, and there's no focus on anything. And like the big reveal is that Kindred is in charge. And it's like, yes, because that's how it's been since Nick Spencer started. So I don't know what it is that's so interesting about it.
Well, I'll push back on that a bit. We know that Kindred's been on top, but like we didn't know how exactly these teams folded into the mix. Like we kind of knew these teams were there, but they had no allegiance to Kindred before now, aside from the Sinister Six. So knowing why they're working for Kindred now is kind of important plot wise.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because otherwise they're just sitting in a mausoleum waiting for Spider-Man to be there so he can attack.
And why are they all there?
Well, what if he just wrote them an email, said, "Please kill Spider-Man to steal the Kindred"? I would have been perfectly fine. I don't need any more explanation than that. I'll give you each $5 for the head of Spider-Man. Something like that.
I do think this could have each page with each team could have easily been like one page. I think that's a fair criticism. Like they spend too much page time on each team member.
Well, and it's just there are so many characters. Like you have Electro and female Electro, and Dr. Octopus and Lady Dr. Octopus, and like all these guys could be doing things if they're going to be here, but they're just bodies. And it just seems like a total waste. Like, why were they building up towards the Sinister War in the back of each comic book for weeks if the whole point is actually they're all interchangeable villains?
Well, we don't know that yet.
But they're not. Each team clearly has their own motivation for wanting to kill Spider-Man.
So
yeah, I mean the car is red, the car is blue.
Well, but that feels kind of bad faith when like they each have their own motivation for killing Spider-Man. They each have their own unique skill set to bring to the fight. So while some of them may be redundant within their own team, they provide a certain utility to the group.
Yeah.
So how I'll jump in. How I've interpreted it is that this is like Spencer established the syndicate being different. He's brought back the classic Sinister Six, so he's been trying to fix all the problems with the fact that the Sinister Six haven't been relevant in a while. He's done a Sinister B list, right, with Tarantula, Stegron,
the Savage Six,
the Savage Six, Vulture, and stuff like that. So now that like these two, of course, they were a big part of the MJ book too. So all that kind of thematically ties in with the Mysterio stuff too. So seeing that, I kind of get it. This is definitely. I agree on one thing, Brian, and maybe we're kind of thinking the same thing. The problem I have with this issue is it very much felt like middle part syndrome, where okay, we had part one. Part two kind of meanders, and it just kind of feels like a bit of a waste of time. And so I completely agree with you that why did we have this?
Well, just spectacle for spectacle's sake.
Right. It's like, okay, we got to do this big epic finale, and so I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't give it as low of a grade. I mean, I give it a B minus. Because I enjoyed, especially the parts with Bagley I enjoyed, but But yeah, no, I do understand it. All right, recapper, what's your grade?
So I'm giving a straight B. No pluses, no minuses, no little frills on the side. Like I actually do agree with Brian that the issue kind of grinds the plot to a halt. There's a big fight scene and like there's a lot of impressive choreography on Bagley's part.
Yes.
But I don't think we needed this many pages dedicated to like I kind of spent like a whole minute explaining to Brian why I think it's not worth a D plus, but I do understand his argument that like we didn't need this many pages dedicated to all these teams. Like you could have easily had all of these pages at the front, like all the Sinister team pages at the front, and that probably would have made it flow a bit better. Like this is one of the few times Spencer's like, I'm gonna reveal more context later. Things kind of comes back to bite him in the ass. Because it kind of it grinds the book's pacing to a halt in order to do a little flashback. There was some good comedy bits. I like I said, the I'm not dying at the hands of Slide was a good meme.
That was a good one. That was good.
I do think Anna Kravinoff kind of came out of nowhere, even though she makes sense given like it's the feminist syndicate.
I agree.
And she's kind of just been MIA from the book since issue 16. I don't think she needed to come back. It felt like she was mostly just there for shock value.
Yeah, I needed some explanation. I assumed it was she porcupine. That was the best that I could figure out.
Oh no, I think the visual cues.
No, she. So I gotta mention this because Minkman made a joke about this. Is a very old joke. Okay, so good friend of the show, Crazy Chris, guy who used to be known as Crazy Chris. He was a front page reviewer on the Spider-Man crawl space, and he had dubbed her Skittles the Penny Hooker whenever her first appearance came out because of the fact that she had rainbow colored hair for reasons, and that all eventually went away. But so that's how she became that particular moniker, and so every time I see her, I still think of that. So that's why Brinkman brought it up. But you know, I wasn't gonna bring it up, and then I was just gonna ignore it. But you know, but yeah, Anna Craven's appearance was completely random. Probably my least favorite part of the issue.
And I don't have the particularly visceral dislike of Anna Kravinoff that everybody else does. Mostly because I was kind of still learning how to understand comic books when I was able to understand when I was growing up. I didn't like in my 30s come in with Anna Kravinoff on the mind.
Right.
So I'm more apathetic to her presence. Regardless, I do think this book had some serious pacing issues, especially after the really high octane, bam, 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 bam. Let's get going that we had with Sinister War #1. This feels really, really slow by comparison. But all the art is really good except for like a couple of pages. It's those ones where they like wake up after they get sent to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. Those are they're
those are the roughest pages.
I wish Bagley would have drawn all the pages, but I understand.
And it's kind of worrying because like it was recently revealed that Vicentini isn't doing 72. It's the Chameleon Conspiracy team. All of them. It's Ferreira, Gomez, Carlos, and I think Iguara. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, is it scripting? Is it or is it last minute?
It just feels like it just feels like artistically this arc is becoming incredibly inconsistent, especially because I was promised Vicentini and I like Vicentini. I want Vicentini. I don't want Ferreira. I know people really want Carlos Gomez, but I don't want the artistic
Gomez doing it all. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I want artistic consistency within the arc. I don't want the art team to just derail halfway through. Not even halfway through. Like the first two issues, it just derails and becomes a completely different art team.
Yeah, I agree. Paul,
I'm gonna give this book probably a B. I haven't really had a lot of issues everyone else's has. The only thing I would say for this book specifically is, yes, it's a little bit of a mess in that Spencer's throwing all the characters in, but at the same time, it's called Sinister War for a reason. So I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize there was going to be 3 separate Sinister factions with the Syndicate, Sinister Six, and the Savage Six. And I do think it's interesting. It's fun. The fact that you have the whole idea of the original Sinister Syndicate with Boomerang and Shocker and Hydro Man. So you almost have 4, basically, teams, all fighting against each other. And some of them are obviously fabricated by, 2 of them or half of the teams, or I guess, are fabricated by Spencer himself. But they're all an homage to, again, the clear idea of the whole sinister aspect of the Savage Six, and that whole 6 or kind of grouping. I think it's interesting and cool. And I like the idea that it's an excuse for Kindred to get all these different people together and have them have different motivations. And like Neil said, yeah, it definitely is a lot of characters, and it's a lot of moving pieces, and a lot of people may not love that idea, but at the same time, it's kind of what we signed up for. I mean, this is basically an excuse to get all these different characters together. And I like the I always forget her name, the daughter of Craven's character. When she came out of nowhere, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, she's in it, awesome. Like I never had the hatred. I mean, for a lot of people, unlike me, hated the character. I thought she was fine. I thought she's better than her brother, to be honest. I was never a fan of the Grim Hunter. And I think mainly because I realized because everyone was trying to tiptoe around the Craven story. So, and they go, well, let's introduce a daughter. So they're trying to respect the amazing story of obviously, Craven's Last Hunt, but they just failed, trying to, they eventually just brought him back. So I like the idea of bringing her back. So it's not a mess. I say B because I'm still enjoying the story, and that's why I gave it a B. If I wasn't enjoying the story, it might be a C, maybe a C minus. And no offense, Brian, I have no idea. D for this book is like, wow. I mean, I've read D books, and in my opinion, I haven't only even close to this. But
yeah. They put all the chess pieces on the board, and then they just slam them together, and it's like, it's a disappointment.
But you're expecting like all of it to come like after 2 issues. You're expecting it to just all like suddenly end now,
but why put all the chess pieces on the board?
So you
just to show me your pieces.
So you can do something with them later.
They're not going to do anything later. This is the 3rd time that Spencer has done this. It's also why it's tedious. He did it at the end of Superior Foes. He did it during that Craven arc. He just said, here are all the animal villains. And in that one, he did it right because he had an issue that was just the Gibbon. And that was interesting.
Well,
I love the ending of a Craven story. I love that one.
But it was clear people were spotlighted and people were in the background. But this is just like, I get it.
Well, yeah, but like half of the hunted side issues weren't good though. So
that's true.
What do you say about that sport?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm only telling you the good one was good. I don't remember the other.
No,
things.
the given one I think is still one of Spencer's best issues.
Right.
Ever.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that, like,
but
we're 2 issues in, and you're expecting like everything to be resolved like now, and that's how I took it. But
so no one has mentioned that Spider-Man died in this issue, or at least they make it seem that way.
Well, yeah, I think it's a fake out. He's not dead.
He just got stabbed. He got stabbed. He got stabbed. He survived like 50 vermin like clawing at his head.
Yeah,
he's okay.
It's like Princess Bride. He's mostly dead.
It was a dramatic page for the surprise of Anna showing up. It was he'll be okay later.
Which was okay. I'm not gonna say it wasn't okay because I oh good lord.
Bye, Zach.
Just fell out of the frame. But yeah,
Zach went to the shadow realm with the Sinister Things.
Yeah. Did I give it a grade? I think.
Yeah, you gave it a B.
Okay, so man, that was a wide grade. And Brian, I want you to come back on next episode because I want to see how things measure up next time.
You guys are all wrestling fans. This is
I'm
like
the wrestling fan.
Oh, just you?
Just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is like the end of Raw when they're running over, and it's like everybody hits the ring. It's like, oh, okay.
And then we all do that move where you jump up and then kick someone.
Oh God, yeah. It's like it's the Raw overrun.
Right, exactly.
I jump off the ring and I roundhouse kick Brian.
Oh God, no. Oh,
Paul, why do you look like perpetually confused?
Wrestling's not my thing.
Paul never has understood wrestling. So like when I would make the wrestling references on other podcasts, like Paul would be like, I just tuned out at that point.
I mean, I know a little bit. I used to watch. I mean, I know DX and all that stuff, but you know.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
You know, 90s.
Yeah, and late 80s.
Yeah, no, I get that. Some could argue that it hasn't been good since the 90s. But yeah. Sorry guys, I just didn't want to go terribly.
Wait, hang on. I want to ask Brian what he thinks of the art, because I think that our grades factor in the art, but we didn't hear anything about art from Brian, and
I almost never care about the art. It has to be really strange for me to notice.
That's crazy.
I wish I had your Ditko tier objectivism.
Ditko tier objectivism.
Like when you tell me that there are multiple artists, I say I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
You couldn't tell? Like you couldn't? Are you blind?
No. Oh God! Don't. No, that's insulting. I know. I don't think he's blind, but dude, what?
How do you not tell the difference between Bagley and Gomez?
Which one has the hat again?
Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing. Like there are some people out there legitimately they're just reading the story and the art doesn't take them out of it. And I understand, and Brian's one of those people. So I completely understand. For me, the art is contingent upon my enjoyment. If I have bad artwork, it takes me out of the story. And I'm not saying that there was terrible art throughout this, but the fact that we had,
five
5 artists, 4 anchors, Partridge in a Pear Tree, as Vinkman so eloquently put it, 5 anchors, 4 artists, 2 writers, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree.
What did Brisen do? Like,
I don't know what he did, and maybe it was Spencer's plot and Brisen was doing the script. I don't know. It does worry me that we're sort of phoning it in right here at the very end of it, and I'm hoping that won't be the case moving forward. But
I mean, it's not like Rosenberg phoned it in during like the .lr issues, but it's like kind of like raising an eyebrow that Spencer was doing everything by himself the first couple of issues of this, and now all of a sudden, it was Spencer and Bagley, and then Vicentini kind of, but then like all of a sudden we're getting like all these different fill-ins, and that's kind of worrying for me.
Agreed.
I will say this about I think the one problem I have with this, and I think maybe Brian, I kind of understand a little bit what you're saying, is I think that Spencer is trying to jam a lot in this last half a year, and I think I sense that, especially now with the whole Substack thing that he's going to be leaving. I think that's what we're getting. We're getting a lot of compression into like a short amount of time, and so he's got to he's ramping it up. Now granted, I don't think it's been that bad personally, but I could see where that is kind of jarring for people, especially with Clone Conspiracy or Clone Conspiracy. Oh my God, no, I'm sorry, Chameleon Conspiracy, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I think that once that and Sinister War were back to back, I went, this is strange. Like this is kind of abnormal, and so I think we're
almost as if Spencer getting a great opportunity caused him to go, oh, I'm not going to
because honestly, guys, do you really think that Sinister War would be a miniseries if he wasn't doing that? I feel like it would just be a regular Amazing title.
Yeah, I kind of had this thought back when Absolute Carnage first came out, and I think it was kind of confirmed when they went behind the scenes on it. Like it was supposed to just be a Venom arc, but then editorial kind of came in and jammed it into an event book.
Well, I mean, because you got to have a summer
at that.
Well, you got to have a summer event, and it's just the way Marvel operates now. And it's the marketing department going, hey, we can get a shiny new #1, and I think it ended up being the #1. I think Sinister War was like
top 5 on direct market orders. So,
I do want to point out this isn't exactly something that's new for Spencer. I think that just he's higher profile now, so it's a lot more noticeable. Like he did this a lot more naturally in Superior Foes, where the drama had more time to build up to its really rushed conclusion, and it made sense because Superior Foes was a weird, wacky book. But you saw this in Secret Empire and consequently Captain America, where all the titles were all the cap titles were merging into one book, and then like at the end of Secret Empire, like everything's happening. I was like, Spencer's like, whoa, gotta do all this, gotta do, whoa, Captain Iron Man suit, Cosmic Cube, let's go, whoa! And after that seizure,
it's a very similar issue, and this is something that we talked about, a few months ago. One of my biggest gripes about the predecessor of Spencer was that his inability to stick the landing on a finale. And while I think 800 was probably a really good, probably the best he'd ever done in sticking a landing, there's a lot of stuff between now and the next 2 months that's coming out, and it's going to be very, very interesting. And how are we going to wrap this up? One, how are we going to make it to where it sets up for Spider-Man Beyond? That how is Ben Reilly going to get introduced and involved
in the Free Comic Book Day issue? I'm not joking.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to talk about the specifics, but I have already read the Free Comic Book Day issue. I can just tell you that there's not much. We'll talk about it more next episode, I think. I think we have to, because by that point it's going to be out. But there's not much to it, unfortunately. So,
but what was the point I was making about but yeah, Spencer, I think it's just kind of a problem of his. Like he tends to write in this really like slow burn style, and this is the longest. I think this is the longest book he's ever done, and so it's that's something I think. Unironically, I think looking back, I think Slott had not better pacing, but his pacing I think had a bit better flow than Spencer's. Were like there are some like his event books. Slott's pacing is awful, but like there are some arcs of his that I think have a bit better pacing than Spencer's, where Spencer's feel like, okay, we're gonna slow burn these first 2 issues, then we're gonna like the 3rd issue.
I disagree. I think Slott's was always breakneck speed and never, and then throw everything at you, and it kind of became overwhelming at times. Whereas with Spencer, it feels like there's a bit more methodical nature to it. This couple issues notwithstanding, the last few issues notwithstanding. So we'll see. I mean, we got 4 more issues left.
I think it's like the giant sizes that kind of made it feel like that for me with Spencer's run. It's not like as noticeable in like the GOG issues, but like the GOG issues or 2099 or the Feminist Syndicate arc, but there are some arcs where like he wastes a lot of, not necessarily waste, but like there's a lot of time that he spent that could be like something could be happening, but it feels like either he's recapping, which is not bad, but it's like, if you're writing for the trade, it doesn't. Writing for the trade or for the arc, it feels semi-redundant. And then like at the end, he's like, "Oh God, I have to wrap this plot up. Let's go."
Right.
And it's not always the case, but like it's something I think is more egregious with Spencer's run than I think Slott's, because I don't know. There's something about Slott's, like he's breakneck certainly, but I think he's more consistent in his breakneckedness.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. He never takes his foot off the brake, whereas Spencer feels like he has to like stamp on the gas at the end, trying to get everything finished up.
And it's like he's trying to run a horse race and then realizes that he's like a second and a half behind, and so then he just starts frantically, like
sprinting. Yeah,
trying to get this horse to sprint at the very end.
It's like I guess a good comparison, like the tortoise and the hare. Like the hare, like is really fast in the first third, and then he takes a nap for the second third, and then by the third, he's like, "Oh God, I have to get this going."
Yeah,
and then he has a seizure pulling at the script.
Yeah, exactly. So, a couple final comments. We'll start taking the final comments on the episode. We got some people still watching with us. A little off topic, but what Marvel Legends would you like to see re-released on retro cards? I was hoping for Morbius, but it looks like we're going to get a Morlun. They did tease that during the last live stream, so he's due for a legend. So I'm hoping for Shriek. I would like to see this new Ben Reilly costume in figure form. I think I'll like it even better.
It's basically the same costumes as the spiders, like moved over a little bit.
There's some elements of the black costume and Peter's costume.
The blue, I think, is a lot less gloss and more matte, going off of Arthur Adams stuff and Pat Gleason stuff.
Yeah. So, SoFlo is wishing us good night. Good night, SoFlo. Matt Auger says, yeah, Spider-Man Beyond. Time to crack out the pogs. Throw out some badly dubbed anime on the background and party like it's 1996. God help us all.
I can't wait to go to Neo Gotham for this arc.
Yeah. So, Brian, what do you think about things moving forward?
Well, I just want to go all the way back. I feel bad. The kind of people who would buy the big Galactus figure probably have a big Ultron. Who was Orson Welles in Transformers?
Unicron.
Unicron. They probably have big Unicrons, and they can't have both. Right? They're going to wake up one morning and the Unicron will be gone.
Brashansky will prove you wrong.
Brashansky will prove us wrong because he does have the Unicron. He is ordering Galactus. He did order the Sentinel. His problem now is that
where's the space?
He doesn't know if he can get the Sentinel, Galactus, and Unicron in the same space.
Galactus will make the space. You don't want to have a giant planet action figure next to Galactus.
He'll eat Unicron.
He will eat Unicron.
No, I agree.
And then my last defense, like this is the first time Dr. Octopus has come face to face with Spider-Man since becoming Dr. Octopus again. And he is roughly interchangeable with the Black Ant in this issue. And it's like, ugh.
I wish we'd get more Taskmaster Black Ant interactions.
That's cool too.
Truth be told, I'll be honest. I wish we had 10 more issues. I wish we had 10 more issues to really explore the character dynamics instead of it being this big event and we're and things like that. Doc Ock being back, the ramifications of that, So I'm hoping that some of these themes will be explored moving forward. But you're right. It is interesting to see. Like, that's a big deal. I mean, made it into a big deal with these backups and then haven't done anything with it because he is there's so many characters. Will it collapse on its own weight? And that's a great question.
I don't think that the arc is bound to fail because of this book. It's just so disappointing that it shows off all the toys and says, but you have to play with that yo-yo over there. I got all the toys.
Yeah.
All right, so that's me.
All right, Paul, final thoughts as we start kind of wrapping things up.
Unmute yourself.
You're muted, Bubba.
I don't know why I was so mean when I said that.
Yeah. It's fine. We're good. No, I'm just disappointed because I like you said, Zach, I do wish they had more time. At least Spencer had a little more time, I think, to flesh things out. But I think he put Marvel in a real bad spot when he left Subspace, or when is leaving for Subspace and helping organize that. I mean, God's sakes, James Tynion IV is going to be leaving Batman, and DC probably is scrambling now to figure out who's going to replace him. And I think that and Hickman too, right, Neil? I mean, with X-Men. So I think there's a lot of, it's not just Spencer. I think there's a lot of creators right now putting the big two in kind of a bad spot as far as with their head honchos.
I think some of it's mitigated by the fact that, like, I don't think all of it is Like they're just leaving Marvel and DC.
I agree.
Some of them are just not retaining their exclusivity contracts.
No, I agree, but at the same time, like Tinian, with Tinian especially,
like their flagship creators are jumping ship for essentially a newsletter forum.
Well, right. And I also think that the big two aren't paying them enough money. I mean, and let's be real. If I'm not getting, if I can get compensated with this new startup, and I feel like that I can make more money long term as a creator.
They're getting grants, like they're getting money up front, like and that's the thing, because these creators before, they weren't like Spencer. They had to work for the big two to make money and to keep going, and they had to put a lot of their times, because Spencer's a name, but he's not a giant name. And that's the thing, is like he's someone that he works on his independent stuff, but he can't just focus on that. He's got to focus on making a living, and he's got to make a living making, the bigger projects. And that's the problem with a lot of these, bigger writers, is that they have to keep putting out, like the Tinians was doing Batman and they pay the bills, but he's doing other stuff creator owned as as his own thing. And now with Subspace, you don't have that problem. They give the money up to you up front, and you can just deal with that.
They're funded by fracking billionaires. They don't have to worry about money.
Yeah, so I mean,
or what am I thinking of? I don't think it's Substack that's funded by Koch brothers. It's
there's deep pockets, and they're. I do think the model is interesting. It could survive, but we'll see. But like you said, Zach, is it also them not paying them that well? That's part of it, but I think it's mostly just freedom and the fact they don't have to worry about money.
And anything that they create, they own, and so that
right, exactly.
Yeah, that's a key factor.
And they have like webtoons, like the webtoons are, right. Yeah, I think they also have they can experiment more in terms of formatting. Like Hickman's doing that, like what, three worlds, three minds, or something like that. Like it gives them a lot more room to experiment in terms of like how pages are formatted rather than just the
traditional
the 6.25 by 10s.
Right.
I'm actually going to present a different opinion. I actually think Spencer leaving, as much as I don't want him to leave, I think this gave him the kick in the butt he needed to kind of wrap up most of his ongoing plot points, because some of them were retired, or some of them were just kind of lingering in the background, like Sensitive Norman. Sensitive Norman's been lying on the floor for like 10 issues.
Well, I mean, now he's flying to Europe, and I just hope that there's a satisfying conclusion. We got 4 issues left. We'll see what happens.
But my point is more that like Spencer's kind of lingering on some of these plot. I assume like before Substack, he assumed he was going to get more time to finish them up. But now that and he was going to waste. I don't want to say waste, but he was going to wait for like 25 issues before the new milestone comes and advances the plot a bit more. But now that he's leaving, he's forced to kind of step it up and get things done more quickly. And while I'm going to miss him, I think that ultimately it's not for the best. It's a weird way to describe it, but you know what I mean, right? Like I don't want him to leave, but at the same time, maybe this isn't so bad because he's ending out on a fairly high note, and he's not overstaying his welcome like Jason Aaron was on Thor. I know Paul and I might disagree on that, but the sentiment I
disagree.
But the sentiment, I think, is accurate.
So, I'm looking at the calendar, and I'm looking at my schedule. We will try to be back the 25th. I'm maybe down in Houston, and who knows? I may have all my equipment with me. I don't know.
Wow,
it's a lot of things are up in the air right now. So I think I will at least have my iPad, and we'll do the AirPods iPad combo if I need to for the 25th, and go from there. Because I'll be actively trying to get the rest of my things moved in that week. So we're leaving, I think, that Friday, and I think we're coming back like that Thursday or whatever. I'll keep everybody posted on that. Be sure to follow our social medias. Let us know. But yeah, with that, we'll start wrapping up the episode. I do want to hang on. I forgot the comments. Vinkman says, asking about what Marvel Legends we're going to see released on retro cards. If we get Shuriken Carry, we'll have all the main villains of Maximum Carnage, which is true. I also think that is actually going to happen in the next Venom wave. That's just my gut feeling. He still wants Rhino, Lizard, and Hobgoblin to be re-released. So with new heads, especially Hobgoblin, he'd love to see a Ron Friends style head. And then Matt Bird says, Subspace's Spider-Man, the Beyond series. Will it be a black hole of a mess? It's to be determined.
Just buying time until 900 and they can get like a consistent writer. I call it.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss that and debate that next time. We'll be covering the next 2 issues, next episode, as well as the Free Comic Book Day issues. So once again,
wait, are we getting 2 issues by? Hang on, let me check my calendar. By August 25th, we're only going to get. Yeah, we're only getting ESM 72.
I thought Sinister War comes out. Does it come out the 1st?
Sinister War comes out. Oh wait, does it? Hang on, sorry.
I knew there was a skip week, and I think this week was the skip week.
I think we might actually have 2 skip weeks. Hang on, let me. Because
I'm almost positive.
Okay, so Sinister War number 3 actually comes out next week, and then ASM and wait, it was 72. Okay, so 72 comes out on the 25th. Okay, yes. Sorry, I messed that up.
No, you did. Yeah, so we'll be covering issue 3 of Sinister War, and then 72.
Okay, so it's Sinister War 4 that comes out on September 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that. Yeah, because it's September 3rd.
Or September 1st.
September 1st. Yeah, I was like, wait, no. So Sinister War 4 comes out September 1st.
I've been inside. I've been inside Staples for so long that I don't remember what time it is.
And I think the finale is ASM
74.
74, which I think is the 8th. It's either the 8th or the 15th. We'll definitely have the 2 issues that we'll cover next time here on the Spideydude Experience.
My spreadsheet said September 22nd.
I would be playing my outro music, but I'm gonna have to add that in post. All right, we want to thank everybody for watching us tonight. You can follow us.
Oh wait, do you want me to stop?
Yes, please.
Okay.
we got our Facebook/Instagram. You can follow us there at Spideydude Network. Twitter is at Spideydude Radio. If you're looking on the screen, I forgot to update this, but it's youtube.com/Spideydude Radio Network. Be sure to give us like, share, and subscribe there. Voicemail line 818-925-6631. If you want to leave a voicemail for this show or any of the shows on our radio network, you certainly can do that. Also, be sure to check out Make Mine Mayday. It is going to be covering March for Death for real this time. We're going to be covering March for Death next episode. Be sure to check out Brogan Rider on the Brogan Rider Variety Hour, 8 p.m. Saturdays, twitch.tv/QuillSniv. As I mentioned already, the Comic Binge YouTube channel at Herman22. Follow Paul there. Make My Maydays is Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And so that is all of our promotion for this particular episode. Once again, we want to thank everybody for watching and listening to this particular episode of the Spideydude Experience. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. We'll cover the next chapters in the Sinister War saga. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.